All right, guys. So like I said, we're back working on the Integra today. We installed a few parts, mostly small. We have here this block spacer for the S2000 master cylinder. We're gonna go ahead and get that installed. As you can see, like the factory one, the reservoir actually bolts up to the shock tower, whereas the S2000 one is one piece, and it'll actually sit down in this hole here. So it should be a lot cleaner of a look. And get this from up here, and then we'll eventually fill these holes in. I also got my trailing arms back from the powder coater. You see I got the old ones removed already. I'll give you guys a sneak peek. There they go. So of course you guys know I went with the S1 built Alpha 6, I think, kit. I did have it powder coated, and the reason being, I figured for as much as they cost, I wasn't just gonna put a can of spray paint on them and paint them black. I really want those things to really stand out, and they're more of a detail piece. Like I do have them wrapped in like a plastic wrap, so they won't get damaged, because I want them to stay in good condition until I get the car really up and running and rolling. You can see in here, I've removed all my ABS lines. I did leave the back ones. These go to your rear brakes. I did leave these a little long. I did that for a reason. So you have to get a tubing cutter if you need to cut your brake lines. As you can see, if you cut them with anything else, it kind of pinches them closed. And of course, you can't do anything. You can't really do anything with that once the pinch closed. But these are about 6 inches or so too long. I'll actually end up cutting them about right here. I've seen some setups where guys just kind of tucked everything down here, because these lines to the brake master cylinder and everything only run through these little holes that are down here. So it doesn't have to be really in the way. You don't have to do all that to get them to tuck. Again, I'm not really in a rush to finish this car, so I feel like I might as well take the time and do that, because I still need my clutch and to put the transmission back together. So it is what it is, but I'll get the transmission back together. All those parts are up in one of these bins that I keep up here. So I'll put that together once I get my clutch in. That's kind of the holding point right now. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the trailing arms back on the car. That way I can get the wheels on and make this thing a roller. So I got a few things to do. If you look, guys, look under here. So you may remember, or you probably know that this is Trey's old Integra, and no, he was not running it with this suspension on here. This actually came off of the car that he's building, his sedan, and he slapped these on here. They don't even really fit, which is why they kind of bowed at the bottom this car. But he put these on here just to get the car rolling, so he could bring it over to my house. And it's in really bad shape, but he wasn't driving it like this. We weren't doing all those pulls with suspension like that, because we would have surely died at least 2 or 3 times. But yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. But I am going to go ahead and get my trailing arms mounted, just so I can put the wheels on it and I can take the car off of the jack stands if I need to. You can also see I've done a little bit of work in the inside. Here we're doing a little bit of cleanup. Like I said, everything's going to come out of this car at some point, including, you know, the seats, the dash. Everything's going to be pulled, going to be cleaned. All right, so just to get a quick side by side. So like I said, this is the S2000 clutch master cylinder and the spacer, and this is what it is replacing. It is just 2 bolts, of course. They bolt to the back of the brake pedal, and that's where that goes there. There's a little pin there. So it's 2 bolts, and this is the original assembly, and I'm going to replace it with this guy here, which is from an S2000. Like I said, it's one piece, not including the spacer, of course, but it's just a much slimmer design. I don't think this offers any sort of performance benefit. It's purely aesthetic, so I don't have that reservoir sitting up here. All right, guys, so there it is. S2000 clutch master cylinder is installed, and you can see it's looking like from the front of the engine bay, you can't even see it. So you really have to get up on it, and that's why it makes it an attractive option. It's still easy to get to. You can still get to the cap to fill it and inspect it. Clean the overall look of the engine bay up quite a bit. Remember, this is where our master cylinder or the reservoir used to sit. And again, you stand back here, you can just barely make out the cap of it. So again, not a huge deal. I'm looking at, I got this off eBay. This, of course, is a used master cylinder from an S2000 for 40 bucks. And the little spacer was like 16 bucks. Pretty much everything you'll see me bolting on the car is just going to be hand tight to get it off of my wall here. Yeah, I mean, kind of a good idea of how it's going to come together. So far, 60 bucks. Definitely, I think, is a nice aesthetic upgrade if that is what you are going for.